And so like, I'm chatting with literally Vanessa Hudgens, and, I'm just like, oh, this is so cool. And then I look up and the door's open, and the horn players from Driver Friendly walk in the door. And I literally dropped to my knees. I like freaked the fuck out. And mind you, these guys were like maybe freshmen in college, maybe sophomores. And it was like my Beatlemania. I freaked the fuck out. Todd was there. I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, you're Juan, you're Andy, you're the horn players in Driver Friendly. And they were just like, what? Who are you? And I was just like, you don't understand. Like, this is fucking insane. I was like, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've bought every one of your records. I have all your shirts. I have your buttons. Like, this is insane. And they were like, well, we're playing horns in this band. And I was like, shut the fuck up. No way. And so I basically, I lived out my dream of being in a ska band with the horn players of one of my favorite ska bands, Driver F. They're back to Driver Friendly now, but yeah, back then they had to drop the Friendly. And so it was just like, I'm getting goosebumps when I tell this story because it's just so like meaningful and special to me. But so that night we were all hanging out at the hotel, and we invited the Driver Friendly boys to come and hang out. And they were like, we checked our merch records. You're like the only person from Pennsylvania who ever bought anything. And I was like, I told you, I fucking love you guys. But so it was just like, can you like just the most full circle, crazy serendipitous, just like, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's way up there.
Yeah, I mean, like crazy.
Just the fact that like your agent calls you and says, I got a script. It's about guys putting together a ska band.
Yeah, like that alone, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I legitimately played the bass, and they were like, they want you to read for the bass player. And I was just like, boy, oh boy, if I don't get this job, I'm going to be so upset. But yeah, it was just a literal dream come true. And so then because of that list, there are so many bands that unfortunately they're not on Spotify. They're not even on YouTube, and Pure Volume doesn't exist anymore. MySpace doesn't exist anymore. And so all I have are these like burnt compilation CDs that don't even like satiate the hunger that I have for these bands that I used to listen to. So if not now or at some point, I was really hoping if I could read off a list of bands that I've missed, and if your listeners out there would be able to direct me to some sort of like digital archive where I can listen to these songs again, it would truly mean a lot to me.
Well, before we do that, I'm going to read a tweet. It probably relates. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read a tweet you sent in 2009. It said, Rochester, New York had the most kick-ass ska bands in the early 2000s. The Goonies, the Motives, the Light Bulbs, etc.
Yes. Okay, those are just three of those bands, but like,
let's do the other ones.
Okay, but yeah, Light Bulbs were incredible. The Goonies were so fucking good. I think the Motives were like a spin-off of the Goonies, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, okay. So in alphabetical order, we have Bob and the Saggets, who then went on to become the Menzingers.
Yep, Tom May has been on the show.
Ah, yes, amazing. Tom's great. Tom taught me how to open a beer bottle by smashing it against like the edge of whatever surface that you have, which I was like, that's like a Menzinger's lyric. So these guys are still around, but Captain Squeegee and the Soap Suds, they're based out of Arizona. The Dissenters, they're more of like tri-state Jersey band. They played at Sacred Grounds. I saw them perform with Too Short Notice many years ago. So the Ska Skank Redemption, I know they're from out here, but they then became the Incredible Machine, which was like, I went back and I listened to their album, and it's like, it was Pup before there was Pup. It was Jeff Rosenstock. I mean, he had been around, but it just has I felt like the Incredible Machine was like so ahead of their time. and I never got to see them perform, which was a huge bummer. But yeah, then we got the Light Bulbs, the Goonies, the Motives. I voted for Kodos, classic. They're great. Driver Friendly. Here's one of my favorite ska band names is Your Mom and the Kerplunks. If anyone out there has Your Mom and the Kerplunks songs, please send them my way. There was this band from the UK that I loved called 9 Pound Note. I still have their CD, thankfully. And their guitar, I randomly reached out to their guitar player like 4 or 5 months ago because I had put on the CD again, and I was just like, fuck, it's so good. It has everything that I love about the sound of the band that you start with your friends in high school, where it's just like so raw, kind of sloppy, but like you're trying to show off your musical abilities, and like there's just something so endearing and awesome about that. And I just love a horn section. Like Todd said, I'm a sucker for a horn section. Some other bands that I loved, SGR, they were awesome. The Best of the Worst, I think they're still doing their thing.
They're still going.
And then they got Thirsty Guys as their side project. A Billion Ernies. If anyone used to loved A Billion Ernies, controversial take. I think A Billion Ernies did like a one-off Dashboard Confessional ska cover band that they called Dashboard Ska, and they released like 4 songs on their Pure Volume page, and they were incredible covers of Dashboard Confessional songs. And then those were like the main MySpace ones that I can't really find much of. But then like I remember during that era, I went on eBay, and Moonska Records was having this like huge sale where I got, I want to say like 50 CDs for like not a lot of money. And it was through that I learned about bands like Rude Bones, and Rude Bones is like legends, and they're still doing their thing. Yeah. And so then obviously when I was in high school, I started a band with a bunch of friends, and classic scenario where we were a ska band for one day. We had like 6 of us in my music teacher's rehearsal room, and like we all played together. And then, the horn players were not really interested in being in a ska band, so they kind of disbanded. So my band, we were called Cool Kids Going to the Beach. And we were that punk band that always played with ska bands, because we had ska undertones, even though we didn't have a horn section. And so like, yeah, I would say during the second or the third year of our band, I just wanted us to sound like RX Bandits so badly. Like I just wanted us to have that cool, progressive, but ska influence. We did okay. We weren't, we were no RX Bandits by any means, but my band ended up playing with a lot of people that I loved and respected and discovered because of the mp3.com and the Pure Volume digging through the crates. So we played with We Are the Union back in like 2007, which was, even then for me, was so fucking huge and still one of like the coolest shows. We played with Rick Johnson one time at the 449 room in Trenton, and like it's burned in my memory as like one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, because Rick Johnson was like doing his thing and I was like clapping along, and like I was trying to start a clap with other people, and like and Rick like stops the song, like completely kills the song, and he's like, hold on. He's like, if you're gonna clap along, make sure you're clapping on the right notes. And I was like, oh no, fuck. I've told people that story before.